will give us some more insight about today's topic, which is about cookies, reporting, and breaches. Before we start, please note that the session is for 1 hour, and we will dedicate the remaining 15 minutes of the session for Q&A. So any questions you have, kindly add it to the chat box, and Silvana or myself will get back to you. So we'll start straight away. So as a business, you all are gathering customer information. Most of you are gathering customer information. And because you're the business owner, you're responsible for protecting your customers' information, which are personal information from theft, misuse, interference, loss, unauthorized access, modification, and disclosure. We have the Privacy Act 1988 in Australia, and as per the Privacy Act, it is a legal requirement under it that when you no longer need your customers' personal information, you have to destroy it or de-identify it, for example, by shredding all the documents having the personal information of those customers, or by storing them in a secure area, which is has, for example, alarm, or have restricted access, or which are in the cloud and which are encrypted. So is your business compliant? A business with an annual turnover of more than 3 million Australian dollar must comply with the Privacy Act. And if your business has an annual turnover of more than $3 million or less, it must comply with the Privacy Act if it falls under these categories of businesses. For example, that is, if it's recording private sector health service provider information. So any information dealing with health, your business has to comply with the Privacy Act. And if your business is selling or purchasing personal information, or else if you are a contractor providing services under a contract with the Australian government, if you're also a credit provider or a credit reporting body, you have to comply with the Privacy Act. As if you're a residential tenancy database or an operator, you still have to comply with the Privacy Act. So make sure you check which of these categories your business falls into, so that you know whether you have to comply with the Privacy Act or not. So you as business owners, you are collecting information about your customers most of the time, most of you. And any information which can distinguish one person from another, which can identify someone, is known as personal identifiable information, also known as PII. So information will be personal information where it is about an identified or reasonably identified individual. Not all information is personal identifiable information, but in combination with other information, they may be PII. For example, opinion about someone can be a PII. So we're just going to give you a few examples of PII which you might be collecting as a business owner, so that you know what type of PIIs you are dealing with, and so that you know how to handle them. So a name, signature, address, email, these are usually PIIs, a race and ethnic origin as well. Also the telephone number, date of birth, as well as medical records, because these are information which can distinguish someone from another. So if you have someone's medical record, it is a PII, and if you're recording it, it is a PII. Of course, we know that bank account details as well are PIIs, as well as criminal records, because these are the type of information. For example, it will, similar to the medical record, you will be able to distinguish someone, you will be able to identify someone based on their criminal records. And you have also place of work, photos, videos, information about their opinions. So any information that you're collecting about your customer opinion, for example, you're doing a survey, that may be also considered as PII, and biometric information. So how do you distinguish between sensitive or personal information? Personal information, for example, name, signature, are personal information, as well as voice recordings. But even if this information or opinion is untrue or inaccurate, someone may have their personal opinion, so it might not be true or accurate, but it is still considered as personal information under the law. And the information doesn't have to be recorded, doesn't have to be in written form. For example, we mentioned voice recording, it can still be considered as personal. Whereas sensitive information is a type of information which is still personal, but if that information is leaked, for example, it may be used against someone. It may be used, for example, to do an identity theft. So, for example, health records or philosophical beliefs. Sensitive information can also be, for example, your bank balance. So if for example, your bank, the bank that you're storing your money with has had a breach, and your banking information, such as banking balance, has been leaked, the malicious users can use your balance, for example, to target you for investment scams. So it is a sensitive information. So we said that as a business owner, you are responsible for protecting your customers' information, your customers' PIIs. And if your business falls under the Privacy Act, you need to comply with the Australian privacy principles, also known as APPs. So the APPs, they will explain to you how you should handle, use, and manage all PIIs that you're collecting. There is a summary of the APP's guidelines, which we've inserted the link here, and Silvana will send it to you through the chat box. Make sure you check this resource, because it will tell you exactly how you need to handle all the information that you're collecting, which are PIIs. And most of you have a website that you are using at the moment, because especially with COVID, so to do your business, for your business to keep on running, you have a website which customers can access to view the type of products that you're dealing with or the type of service that you're providing. And a privacy policy is a statement that explains in simple language, so brief language, how your organization is handling personal information that they're collecting. So whatever information you're collecting from your client, that privacy policy will explain to the website viewers or your potential clients how you will be handling their information. And any organization falling under the Privacy Act, they need to have a privacy policy. And that privacy policy is usually recommended, it is published on the organization website. So anyone who is viewing your website and they want to know how you are treating their personal information, they will know, and they will also know the type of information that you're collecting and how you're handling them. With regards to your privacy policy, there are templates, free and paid ones, which you can get online, but you can also seek legal advice so that you have a very customized privacy policy. And how can you protect privacy online? For example, Incognito Mode in internet browsers. This is very often used by a lot of people because they are worried about their privacy. Because when you're browsing incognito, none of the information that you're inputting, for example, if you're filling a form, it is not, once you've closed the tab in that incognito mode, none of the information that you're inputting there are stored. And because none of the cookies as well are being stored, and I'll take you through the cookies as well shortly, but an incognito mode, actually, they will be managing your privacy. Your browser in incognito mode, it won't remember where you have been, the website that you've visited, any type of information that you've searched for, or any information that you've filled in web forms. But what an incognito mode doesn't do, for example, if you've downloaded some files, because you've downloaded that files on your device or on a different drive, it will still be there. And in incognito mode, if you're browsing something, the device, the browser won't remember anything, but your internet service provider will still have data on what you've been browsing. So make sure you use the incognito mode wisely when it comes to your privacy. So we mentioned about cookies. Cookies usually they are like small text files which are stored on your computer by website when you visited that website. And cookies usually they will allow those websites to remember things about you, or just browsers to remember things about you. And cookies are used actually by websites to gather information about their visitors. For example, if you've researched on a normal browser for a specific item, because you've researched about that item, the cookies have stored that information, and it will keep on prompting you. For example, if you're on your social media platform, or you can even get emails about that product and from different brands. It's just because the cookies have stored the type of information that you're looking for, and they will keep on prompting you the different brands that you can buy from. But cookies, in terms of security, they are not malicious. So they are not codes that can be run on your device and download a malicious software or just do anything malicious. They are just texts that are read by your browser, and they can gather information about you and your activity on websites. So there's nothing malicious that can be done with cookies. But if you're worried about your privacy, just clear cookies every time you're visiting a website, or just browse on an incognito mode. We're going to show you now how to use the incognito mode. We've taken two browsers, Firefox and Chrome, but you have it on almost all browsers. For example, Safari as well, you will have it. So for Firefox, how to access the incognito mode, you open a new tab, and on that new tab of Firefox, select, there will be three lines on the top right corner. Just click on it, and that will open a new private browser. And once you, when you look for there will be a purple screen, and it will have that symbol, so you know that you're in a private, in an incognito mode, also known as private by some browsers. In Chrome, it is very similar, except that instead of the three bars, you will have the three vertical dots on the top right corner, and you have to again select the new incognito window, and it will have a black screen, and it will be written incognito as well on the screen, so that you know that you're in an incognito mode. So what is a data breach? A data breach is a security violation where PII's sensitive information has been leaked. That is, sensitive, protected, or confidential data has been copied, transmitted, viewed, stolen, or used by an unauthorized individual. For example, a malicious user may have got access to it and have leaked those information. And as of February 2018, your business must comply with the Notifiable Data Breaches Scheme. That is, if there has been a breach in your business, which involves personally identifiable information, you have to notify both the individual, that is your client, who you are collecting information, and those information usually are personal. If you have had a breach, you need to inform the client that their information has been breached, and you're taking corrective action for it. But you also need to inform the Office of the Australian Information Commissioner, which is the OAIC in Australia.
Steve, can I share just a little bit on this slide?
Yes, of course, sir.
So an example, guys, of a breach is, and we see it all the time, is when, you know, an email is sent with sensitive information in the body of the email, but it's sent to a number of email recipients, and they can all see who that email's been sent to, as well as it being sent to themselves. So literally yesterday, the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade had a data breach in that one of their staff members sent an email to nearly 1,000 people who were stranded overseas because of COVID and the border restrictions. And in that email was sensitive information, and what happened was every single person was able to see who that email was sent to, and every other person was able to see who that email was sent to. So effectively that was a data breach by that organisation, which means that they've obviously now had to deal with that. So they actually sent another email to everyone, but they sent it the right way. They BCC'd, which is what the lesson here is. If you're sending an email to multiple recipients, it's always in your best interest to BCC it so they can't see anyone else's email address in terms of who gets that email. Okay, any questions on that, just pop it in the Q&A at the end of the session. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Sil. Yeah, we mentioned earlier about the email address being a PII, so it is a personally identifiable information. Anyone can be identified using an email address. So yes, that was a very great example, Sil. Thank you. So as Sil said, make sure you're using BCC when you're sending to multiple recipients. And there are other ways that you can protect your organization against breaches. The first one is by adopting a cybersecurity policy. That is how your organization is handling PIIs, and ensure that all information, all your employees are aware about the process. And of course, it should be available to all employees to refer to whenever they are in doubt or they're not sure about anything when it comes to handling PIIs. And always educate your employees. So whatever we are sharing here, you need to convey to your employees as well, so that they know how they need to handle PIIs and what type of risk are involved when it comes to PIIs, and how they need to handle PIIs in case there has been any breach. So make sure you're always educating and making awareness sessions with your employees when it comes to PIIs and customer information. And also, of course, you need to work with providers that have a strong commitment to security. You might be taking all the right action when it comes to PIIs, but you're involved with other providers, other service providers who are not really addressing, who are not really having a right approach to privacy, to handling PIIs. So make sure before you are like collaborating with other providers, make sure they are having the right policy when it comes to PIIs, so that if you are doing the right thing, they are also doing the right thing, not that you are doing the right thing and they are doing the wrong thing, and then you are also putting your customers' data at risk. And you also need to identify any type of weaknesses in your systems and processes through regular security assessments. For example, if there are, you have a security policy, but some of the ways, the processes, the controls that you've mentioned there are not working, just walk through it and identify what is wrong with it and review all your processes. And you also need to consider the risk of physical security. Physical security is very important when it comes to cybersecurity, because you might be having all the right processes, you're doing everything when it comes to cybersecurity, privacy. For example, you're having like very strong passwords, all your information are encrypted, but then you are storing your information in a room without any alarm or CCTV or access codes, or it's not a privilege or like a restricted area. Of course, your putting all the data that you've collected at risk, because anyone can just come in and get those information, and you will still have a breach. So make sure you have some of these policies when it comes to protecting PIIs in your organization. So what do you need to do if your business has had a breach? Of course, change your password. You never know who might have access to your password and how they have had access to those private information. So change your password first. And if you have a managed service provider, just let them know. But you also can use cyber.gov.au. You have to report it actually to cyber.gov.au. By reporting it, you will be directed to the right authorities. And and if you are falling under the category of the business tab that we mentioned earlier, if you have a turnover of over 3 million or less and you're falling under those category, make sure you report it to the OAIC as well. And contact IDCare in case you're unsure about any other action plan. IDCare will help you. They have non-tech people who is going to guide you onto the right process, onto all the authorities who can help you in case your business has had a breach. How you can contact IDCare is we've put the link here, which we're going to share in the chat box later. And there's also the 1-800 number that you can access. They are available 24/7. You can also report cyber, as I mentioned earlier. And Scamwatch is where you can report it as well. Scamwatch is a government website, and there you can report all types of scams that you or your business has been through. You can also subscribe to the newsletter, so that any type of scams that are currently happening, you will be aware about it, and you would know how to protect your business against it. These are some of the resources. So if you want to check if your email address may be work or any other email address, if you want to check if they have been compromised, you can check it at Have I Been Pawned? This is an Australian. This website has been built by an Australian guy, and with this website, once you've typed in your email address, it will give you exactly in how many breaches that email address has been into, and on the websites and the type of information that has been compromised. So for example, your username and password has been in a security breach, you need to change your password straight away. You can also use how Secure Is Mypassword.net. This is a great tool as well. We always share this because your password is the basic, it's like the general way of identifying yourself to any online account. And it's recommended that you have a strong, long, and unique password. And how to check if your password is a good one, is a strong password, you can check it on this website, howsecureismypassword.net. And howsecureismypassword.net, you're going to type in your password there. It will tell you how strong is it and in how many minutes, seconds, or even instant or years it can be cracked. You don't worry about typing your password there, because you would notice that none of it is being taken online. It's just a local script which runs on your machine. So you shouldn't worry about typing your password on a website. So thank you very much for attending today's session. Today we've shared a lot of information which are, well, you have to go through them again, because you need to know what type of business what type of industry your business is in. That's the basic thing. And if your business is compliant, and when you need to report a breach if you've had one. So make sure you check all the resources that we've provided to you. And thank you. Please follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook and on Twitter as well for all the latest information about cybersecurity and threat. Thank you. We will attend to your questions right now.
Thanks, Steve. So guys, what I'd like you to do, I think there's 2 of you on there, is so Dave, if you go back to the slide that had the have I been pawned, and what I want, I've shared it in the chat. So what I want everyone to do, if they can, is go to a browser. So go to the internet via Chrome if you're on a device. Go to that website. So go to the chat from this session. Click on Have I Been Pawned? Type your email address in and hit the button. So type your email address in and hit the pawned, PWNED button, and just check to see if your email address has been pawned. You don't need to tell me when or why, but just come back to the chat and give me a yes or a no. And then what we can do is we can potentially show what you would see in terms of the breaches. So if you guys want to go off and do that now and then just get back to us via the chat. So in the chat, I've shared that, that link, Have I Been Pawned? So what I want you to do is click on it and enter your email address, and then come back to the chat and let us know if your email address has been breached, and then how to see that. Dave, we can probably use Divya's email address because it's no longer a current email address, if you wanted to showcase this.
Yeah.
One. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So if anyone can, I hope everyone can see my screen now. I'm just going to show you how you can check for your email address if it has been in any breach. So I'm just using like an all email
address.
So once you type in the email address, just click on pawn, and then so this is the message. So no, you have been, this email has been pawned on 6 breach sites, and don't worry about this. This is just marketing, because it's
marketing. So what you want to do is scroll down to the breaches that the email address has been breached in. And what we're looking at here, because this email address has been in 6 data breaches, and it's things like if you play Words with Friends, or you have installed apps using your email address like Canva, and the app's been breached. So you don't stress too much that the email address has been in a breach. What's important for you is to understand the breach's date. So, and find the breach. If your email address has been in a breach, that more than one breach, you want to find the breach with the newest or the latest date, because it's after that date that we want to make sure, if you haven't changed your password for that email, that you do. So if we scroll down here, you can see that this email address has been in 6 breaches, and we're looking at the date. So the date is usually in the first line of the description of the breach. So we can see that the latest breach that this email address was in May last year, in May 2019. And so by knowing that, you can go, okay, well, that's okay, because I've changed my password after that breach, which means that my email address and the password aren't the same as what they were when that breach occurred. Okay, so thanks, Steve. Thanks for that example.
Thanks.
Just going to go back to...
Should I show them how to use the password one? How secure is my password?
Let's do that next. And I'm just going to go and see if anyone's gone and put anything in the chat.
Nope.
No, that's okay. So the next thing we're going to show you is how to check how strong your passwords are. And don't fret because we're going to a website. The first thing when we show people this is they go, what do you mean I need to put my password into a website? Won't someone steal it? But the beauty about this website is it doesn't transact your password across the internet. Okay, you can see offline mode is enabled, which means it just runs a little script on the machine that you're going to the website on, so the laptop or the PC. And that script, we call it a little JavaScript, that will determine how long with current technology the password that you entered would take, how long it would take to crack it. Okay, and the idea is to have a strong password. Ideally, and like we've said in other sessions, you would have a password manager such as LastPass and make the one password you need to remember long and strong, because then you don't need to remember any of the passwords in the password manager. But if you're not at that level yet, so you're not using a password manager, this is where you would go to check your passwords. Okay, so Dave is going to use an example of a really simple password. So I'm going to go over to you now to explain the concept.
Yeah. So I'm just using a simple password. For example, password. Lots of people use password as password, and this is a very common password. It is instantly cracked. So as soon as you've used this password, it will be cracked instantly by any software. And we also recommend not to use password in any, so even if you're using password and something else, this is like not recommended because it will still be easily cracked. And usually your password, how you can make it very strong, long and secure, it should be a combination of lowercase, uppercase, numbers and special characters, and also the length. The longer your password is, and it must be a combination of all these, the stronger it will be. So now I'm going to type in a password. You can check yours as well. I'm going to type in a password with a combination of lowercase, uppercase, numbers, and special characters. So I'm typing in now. So I've typed in this password, so maybe I'll just copy and paste it. I don't know if it's going to paste. I'll try. Maybe I'll put it on the chat box. So this is the password that oh no, it's not, it doesn't allow me to copy it. But actually it's one of the passwords that we use as example in most of our sessions.
It's not our password. So just type it in. Is this the Mindhunter password?
Yeah, it's the same one.
Type it into the chat. So, and we can talk through how it's been made long and strong, yeah?
So it's M1.
Is it an S or a 5?
An S.
Okay, so we're not saying that you use this password, but what we've done is rather than just have the word Mindhunters all lowercase, we've introduced uppercase for the 2 words and the end, and we've introduced letters that look like numbers. We've made them numbers, like the I looks like a 1 and the E looks like a 3, and we've added a symbol at the end like an exclamation mark, which has made it longer. And effectively, we've gone from a password from a few weeks to 34,000 years to crack it, which is phenomenal. Well, we've just lost your screen.
Oh.
Steve. So maybe our time's up. We've lost your screen.
Now?
No, we've lost your screen as well. So that's okay. Just unshare it and then see if you can share again.
Yeah, I think now.
We're back.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. Okay, so guys, in the chat, if Dee puts that, have you put that URL in the chat, Dee?
Not the URL, but I did.
So let's just put that URL, howsecureismypassword.net.
Okay, this is the password that we used, and
that's for the example, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we're going to send you this link so that you can share. Yeah, just replace that. Share. So we've shared that link so you can check your passwords on that secure site. Okay. Any questions around that? We've got a quiet group today, Dee. No.
Maybe we should show them Scamwatch a bit.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay.
So as Dee goes to Scamwatch, what we often say, this is a federal government part of the ACCC. And so it gives you live data on the number of scams that are reported per month. Okay, and what we want, so Dee's going to go and show you what this looks like in terms of the type of scams.
Okay.
And she'll bring that up. Okay, so
once you've gone to the website, just click on type of scams. It will give you the latest scams which are currently happening in Australia, and how you can protect yourself. What are the like the red flags when it comes to these scams. And when you click on the type of scams, you will also see on the right hand side some statistics. So if you go at the bottom, this is a summary, but I'm going to go at the bottom and view more statistics so that you understand the type of information that you can get here. So I'm viewing all scam types, but we are dealing with mostly like privacy. So when it comes to, like, for example, identity theft. So with identity theft only in 2020, nearly 3 million Australian dollar has been lost. There has been so many cases which have been reported and so much loss. And if you look at the graph here, in April and May, the number of amount lost and reported has increased, was like a big spike. What do you think is the reason for such an increase?
So most people would have been shopping online, do you think, Dee?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely because of COVID, because lots of people were in lockdown and couldn't go out. So lots of people are shopping online, and they are very often there would be like fake websites where people have been like tempted to do shopping because they have great deals, and of course they've lost money, or they've lost their identity, and yeah.
So the reviews, it's really important if you're shopping online to go and check the reviews for that particular website as well, because often people, if they've been scammed, will actually say, oh, you know, this is a scam site. But Dee, if you can go just back to the previous page that does a summary of the statistics, and then let's show everyone how they can sign up to the alert service.
Yeah.
So really slowly here. So you can see on the right-hand side, if you scroll down, Dee, the scam statistics for August. Okay, so lost amount. So only in August in Australia, nearly $12 million was lost in scams. And if you scroll down, the number of scams reported was nearly 21,000, and it's roughly the gender in terms of reporting's half and half. So think about that. In 1 month alone, $12 million has been lost in scams in Australia. So what we want you to do, the action for here, is to register to the Scamwatch alert service, because as they see, and Dee's just clicking on that now. So when we send you the link to Scamwatch, then you can go to Scamwatch Radar and subscribe now. And then they let you know when they see lots of patterns around scams, then you'll get an email or a notification from them. So when the scam, hits your mailbox, you know it'll be a scam. Okay. So that's the important thing to do, is to, and Dee's put that in there, the Scamwatch. Go there and sign up to the alert service. Okay, what's the alert service called, Dee? There, if you just drop that chat, Scamwatch Radar, subscribe now.
Yeah, okay.
Excellent. Any questions around that? No. Excellent. And again, this session is being recorded and will be published on the YouTube channel for Business Station. So, any questions from you guys around privacy, around how to show? So, Deeb, there you're using, what browser are you using there, Deeb? Chrome?
I'm using Chrome, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, I'll show them how to. Okay, so we said about so in Chrome you have those three vertical dots on the top right corner, which I'm clicking here. So once you click on it, you would see here new incognito window. You click on it, you've gone incognito. So here, as we say, you can browse as usual, and nothing will be saved. For example, cookies. If you're filling forms, if you're putting your password, or you're just visiting any type of website which you don't want people to know. For example, if you're sharing devices at home, none of the information will be stored. But as we said, your internet service provider, they will still have the details. Even though none have been stored on your browser, they will still have the details of the information or the website you are visiting. So I'll close this now.
Close that. So that's pretty much in Chrome, how to go into incognito mode.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, wonderful. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it for today. Same time, same place next week, and hopefully we'll see you next Thursday, 11 o'clock Australian Western Standard Time, and whatever that is for Australian Eastern Standard Time now, I think, with daylight saving. Lovely to be on with you, and thanks, Steve, for the majority of the presentation.
Thank you, Sil, for all your input. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
See
everyone.
you next week. Bye.